I'd like to start the meeting, open the meeting. Can we all rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I was
I
just
know.
thinking the same
Never, were you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Never seen Neil wear jeans.
I've never
Boy,
seen
you
Neil
can't
in a
sneak
pair
one
of
past these
jeans.
girls.
I didn't know.
I'm used
I
to
was
seeing
working
it
on
in
some stuff and
whites.
I kept, well, that, you're going back there, girl.
Okay, so next is the approval of the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to read through the minutes from November 7th?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
Okay, a second.
second.
Okay, discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next is highway.
Wait a minute, what about the meeting for the November 17th meeting?
Oh, we should do that too, huh? I didn't bring that with me.
There it is.
Thank you. That was probably a very good idea. Okay, so as you know, we had a public, a special meeting that we held on the 17th, which was to adopt the budget. So everybody got a copy of those, Steph sent, so I'm looking for a motion for the 17th.
I'll move.
Okay, Rochelle is the first, second.
I'll second with a correction.
Okay, discussion.
Ah,
Kathy?
The date at the top line is supposed to be the 17th, not the 7th.
That'll make a difference.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I will abstain, having not been able to make that one.
I guess I had to just, because I wasn't there.
Oh, all right. You got a quorum though.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yep, okay. So Neil and Don abstained, okay. Kathy, thank you very much for keeping me on my toes there. Okay, next is highway report.
Oh, wait a minute.
Okay, in no particular order,
What, what's the matter?
I'm looking for the right paper. Right papers. Found it. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Randy.
good to go.
I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Shut up. Neil.
Cemeteries are closed for the season. Needless to say, with the snow that I found when I got back. Trail work has commenced on the snowmobile trails. We borrowed the county excavator and did some culvert changing on the bypass trail. They got washed out in the Halloween storm, but we haven't used the trail since, so we were able to finagle the county to drop off the excavator. We went in on Lions Land and moved some stuff around and put the culverts back, blah, blah, blah. And redecked one of the bridges from one of the, where they put a culvert, we used that deck board on another bridge, so. Everything worked out well on the bypass, we didn't have to spend any money yet again to get it back open for hopefully this one season. Plowing obviously has commenced and all is going well so far.
Busy weekend.
Yes, very busy weekend, a week, pretty much from Wednesday on.
Yeah.
We have received the 70% check for the snowmobile trails that I mentioned that we had a voucher last time, so that's a pretty good turnaround. And that being said, I met with, as a group, all the towns in Hamilton County and a couple of the clubs with Parks and Rec today up to the county for a lovely 3-hour session to go over the mapping of all of our trails in Hamilton County. And where they stand as far as why this is done and why that's done and so on and so forth. They are kind of leaning and appreciative of Lenny from the county doing all the mapping and GPSing, because as you know, if one person does it all, then it can be, you know, they just have to get back to that one person. The problem with that is Lenny has to then travel all the trails himself, or once again, teach everybody how to use his system. we're working out the fine details on that, but it's, 2 or 3 towns did it this year, including us, and it worked out well, so.
So we do have a mileage on all funded and unfunded trails, or
No.
this is just the funded
This is
trails?
just a funded trail from the state, once again. But, that being said, I found this out today because you had asked me, when we GPSed the trails last spring, we GPSed all the trails. So, with some fancy footwork with Lenny, he should be able to tell me how many miles are not funded. Also,
Yeah, extrapolate.
he can just take out, that.
Yes.
But, it's a timing thing, getting into,
Yeah, I think it's important that we know
right.
what we
Good,
got.
very good information, let's put it that way.
Yeah,
Oh, and still, that being said, with the trail mileage, I have to rewrite all the, 2 clubs' trails contracts. Because now the verbiage states per mile, and then that numbers don't work out, so I started looking at that today and said that's another job for tomorrow.
White out.
Yeah, white out. The piston bully from Inlet is ready for us to pick up. They have received
Nice.
theirs, the week before I left. So they said after I get back, anytime we can go out and pick that up. Next week, the drag for that will be, the guy will be ready to load it for us. This week is too busy, he said, so I said, good, it's pretty busy for me. It's only 3 days long. The lights are in for the foyer out front. I'll probably put them in tomorrow morning, and if they match here, that one will also get changed. So we bought 6 of them because we had 1 out, and then I noticed we had 2 out, so it's a good thing that we ordered a bunch of them. And the last thing I have is, I would like to have an executive session about one employee matter.
Yeah, well,
One employee and a matter with that employee.
sure, well, we have a health-related thing that
Yep.
we'll address at the end of the meeting.
Yep, medical. Okay,
That's it.
okay.
Well, that was pretty good.
Okay, Randy, just one quick question. Any more problems with the heat at the clinic, or everything's resolved?
Not that I know of. The last time we had any issues, you weren't here, I went down there and the thermostats were touched again. And we had one zone that was extremely hot, so we went downstairs and dialed the ball valves manually back. Rather than paying an emergency visit for them to come up here, the next time they are up here doing something, I had it on my desk to have them bring that valve and replace it. But because it has valves in it, manual valves also, you just throttle it back and it's a nice calm 65 degrees in that bathroom.
Did we order the cages for the thermostats?
No, I measured them and I don't believe, no,
Okay,
that'll be on my list of things to do.
yeah, it sounds like it's gonna have to be the answer, the solution.
Yeah,
Well, I was there today,
Definitely gonna have to-
after you, saw you, and asked if there were any issues, and she said no.
I just want to mention that in your absence, your employees did a wonderful job on the roads.
Good, thank you. I pretty much expected that,
Okay.
so.
And I just wanna mention, Eileen, I know that you weren't here, so no, I wasn't into baking, because I didn't get home till 11 o'clock the night of the storm. So in the morning, I ran to Charlie John's and bought them donuts and said, Eileen will be back for the next storm. I'm not taking her place.
Wow,
Yeah.
they are pampered, these boys.
Yes, they are, but
Wow.
you know what? We're lucky we have a
Worse, I
good
could be
crew.
cooking for 'em.
Good crew. Okay, so that's it?
That's it.
Okay, next is old business, and I do have one thing that's not on your agenda that I got after the agenda went out. Bill Duvendorf, H2O Pure, had gotten back in touch with me with a price quote for repair on the Blennis RO system. The bearing seals failed, so the bearing is now shot. which Bill said he won't really know how much more damage has been done until he pulls everything apart, but at this time, he is figuring about $500 for the parts. I looked up in my records, and this system was brand new and installed in July of 2019. So it's well worth it to spend $500+ to repair this than to, worry about putting a whole new system in. It's not old, it's a fairly new system. So nothing to really, just wanted to make a mention of that to you guys. And once we actually get the bill, you'll see it in the bill pay, once we know what's going on. That's all that was for old business and new business. We have the membership renewal for ANCA, which is the Adirondack North Country Association.
Maybe we accept that, right?
Yep, I had sent it to everybody. Everybody had a chance to read it. So I think I'm asking that we do either, I'm asking if we can do a $50 membership. That's what we did last time.
I so move.
Yep, and Neil moved it, okay. That's what we've paid in the past. So I'm looking for a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay. I'll take care of that tomorrow. So then the next was our Adirondack Park Local Government Review Board. I sent everybody a copy of the contract. It hasn't changed at all since last year. So I'm just looking, it's $300 for the yearly contract, so I'm looking for a motion to pay that dues.
I'll move.
Okay,
Second.
okay. Any discussion?
So this board is required by executive law of New York State, but is not fully funded by New York State.
Correct. The board was put together as wouldn't say our half of the discussion, but our small portion of the discussion once the APA was created in '73. So it's very valuable to us, at least it always was during my time as supervisor. Many council people get involved, but it is our own real conduit for all of the towns and villages within the blue line, to keep an eye on review board, keep an eye on the things that are being pushed along through the pipeline
I
via
like
the
the changes.
DEC and the APA.
Okay, but back to my original question.
Sure.
So New York State requires that this exist, but does not fully fund it.
Correct. It's an unfunded mandate, if you want to call it that, but it's one that, in the beginning, I'm sure that the local is 102 or 103 towns and villages in the park. I'm sure they were paying $10 or $20 or $30. At this point, the admin of this costs a great deal more, but still the $300 for what it does for us in the way of information and tipping us off to the things that are in the pipeline is very important.
I appreciate their efforts.
Okay.
I like this letter they sent.
Any further discussion? I try to send all this stuff to you guys just so you can read it firsthand, so you have, if you have any
Yes.
questions, it's easier at the meeting to get everything out. Okay,
Absolutely.
so any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Okay, next, I would like to introduce Aaron. Aaron, I did send your historian report for 2022 to the whole board on Friday, so they all got a chance to read through it. So anything you want to add and discuss, or if they have any questions, you've got the floor.
Sure, if you want to, let me just do a little brief, because I know this is 2 pages long, and I left a lot of things out. For those who are wondering about, during the winter and spring months earlier this year, we bought those folders and plastic sheets. We have a lot of old historical documents and papers that need to be preserved, and thank you very much, Stephanie, for your help on that. But one of those documents that we found very interesting, that we are still trying to find a better sheet to put in, is an old deed written by Philip Rylander. and his handwriting, beautiful. And for those who are into local history, that's a very big deal when you're into something like that. There was some other stuff from the old Montgomery County that was given to the town of Lake Pleasant when we were under Montgomery County in the early 1800s. So there are a lot of documents, military documents and all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to find ways to preserve what we have. And we hope in the future we can make copies of what we have of historical documents so the copies can be used for public use and the old originals can be kept from human hands because they deteriorate. Let me see. The events that was done through the town historian was also done through the library and also through the Historical Society. And one of them was the Rhinelander event. That was very successful. I was very happy with that. People enjoyed it. Mr. Dave McComb did a wonderful job taking people out into the ruins and showing him places that not even I knew about. He's going to give me a private tour one of these days, and I want to map
Wow,
out
interesting.
where all these different places are of the old Rhinelander estate. It's really cool. Perry Ground, he is a Onondaga of the Haudenosaunee, I cannot say it. We know it as the Iroquois Nation, the Iroquois Confederacy. And he came and he had two separate events. The first one, he was here in the library and he talked about life in a longhouse. And the second one, he was down in the pavilion and he gave many stories. And with the help of Sherry Matthews, we were able to have a grant to help pay for him. And a lot of people say he wasn't a big, he's very animated with his storytelling. And what's cool about him is that he does his presentations throughout Europe. He was in the Smithsonian Museum. He's been in other places throughout the States representing the Iroquois Nation, his people, and their ideas. And we found out about him was because a friend of his sent us an envelope saying, hey, there's this legend on the flying head, and he told about the story. I'm like, yeah, we know about the flying head story. I'm like, yeah, this is great. Yeah, have him come over, and he can tell the story right here on where it was located. So he did. It was great. He was a lot of fun. We were going to have another gentleman come up he wrote the book, Dennis Webster wrote the book about the haunted Adirondacks. He could not make it at the last minute because of job issues. So maybe we'll get him again in the future. It was too bad because he talked about Mary Rhinelander and we were having the Rhinelander event at the same time and it just couldn't happen. Moffat's memorial tour was an event that I was hoping that we would do, and when Ernest Burgel became county historian, I bugged him and I said, hey, you helped put in that memorial down in the Moffat's, why don't you tell the story? And he was thrilled. And so he and his assistant, they gave us a tour, a whole group of us, and thank you for putting, filling in
The culvert.
the culvert.
Yep.
That was great, thank you.
I have to say, I've always wondered where that was, and then I saw the culvert. And now you can actually see it.
Yeah, now you know where the path is, so it is
Yeah.
helpful for people.
I had to ask, I'm like,
That-
okay, you want one, but you gotta
Yeah.
show me where you want it.
We go every year and put a flag in
Yeah.
and for the veteran.
You can see it from the
Very
road
well.
now, the flags.
Yeah. So excuse me, Ernie has an assistant?
What happened was,
I just want
he
you
applied
bucking
for
for
a
it.
student.
An intern.
For an intern,
Gotcha.
for the summer, and she was very helpful.
Good thinking on Ernie's part.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The
Very good.
county historian has had interns over the years.
Interns, yes.
Yeah, I mean, Paul had interns.
Sure.
Like I said, I was very busy. I tried to help people the way I could. We wanted with emails, mostly people, most of the emails that I received from people were asking about grave sites. And there was mostly the heirs and the slacks. I went with 3 people asking for the same slacks for the grave sites, and we couldn't find it because there is no gravestone. Well, you have to understand that back in the early days, a lot of people were either buried on private property or they could not afford a stone. And there are probably a lot of places in our grave sites that are unmarked graves. Or it could be on private property, and unless we have records that says one way or the other, we will not know. Or if family members kept it on from tradition through mouth to mouth, knowing where their ancestors are buried. So, but that was interesting. And so we had to explain to the people that we could not find them. But we looked, Stephanie helped, and I had a few other people that helped as well, and we did some grave hunting.
Some people were hunting for heirs.
Yes, the original heirs that came from Scotland, we don't know where they're buried. And some slacks. There's a lot of slacks that we do not know where they're buried either.
I think there's an Asa Aird over in South Shore Cemetery.
Yeah, and I think there's some down Schenectady way.
I think these were the 18
And if they,
something.
and
I'm
if
not
they
sure
were
whether
Catholic, then they were
Rutgers
buried in Wells.
True,
Oh, St. Mary's?
true. I don't know if they were Catholic or not. But, yeah, we're surprised, because I looked, and I even called some, a historian, forgot who she was, to ask her if she had anybody, and she didn't. So, which is very probable that their grave sites are probably forgotten, and someday somebody's gonna run into them. It's not uncommon.
Probably not.
It's
No.
not uncommon. So, other than that, I'm hoping in the future to make 2 more posters. Mrs. O'Connell here, she did a wonderful job with displays, and she did a lot of research, and I'm not gonna let those go to waste. I would love to take what she did and make them into posters, and
Nice.
that way they'll be preserved. Wonderful job. And
Thank you.
I hope we get to see more in those displays in the library.
Next one's coming up later this month.
I'm excited. Are there any questions?
She doesn't. No. Erin,
Great
thank you,
job.
you're doing a great
Thank you.
job.
Great job.
We really appreciate you.
Thank you, your mother would be proud.
Yes, she
Indeed.
would,
Oh, yeah.
That's a
Very
good
much.
point, Don.
very much. Okay, next committee reports. Don, you want to start?
I have no committee to report.
Okay, Neil?
No, we share a few of those. Randy covers some of our stuff. The budget
Okay.
is in and we're good.
Yep. Michelle?
We prepared the voucher for Arietta for the summer youth rec program. And the permission slips for ski lessons did go home this week. Was it the end of
Late
last week?
and they've also been shared with the homeschool
Yes,
families.
yep, so those should be coming back in hopefully very soon.
Thank you, you guys, you're really doing a good job with the youth rec program. You're really shaping it up.
Well,
That's it.
it's just a different perspective. I mean, we just happen to have
New
an
eyes,
year
new eyes.
that is,
And it makes a difference because you guys have communication with the kids. Kathy, you through the school, Rochelle, you having children and being involved, it makes a big difference. You know, you're there and you see what's going on and you see what it needs. So it really makes a big difference.
well, we'll try some things this year and see which way the wind blows and
Okay,
can always adjust.
thanks for everything, really.
Short-term rental committee met on the day after our board meeting. And we're meeting again in late January, after the holidays. Everybody's got a homework assignment to work on until then, to bring back to the committee, whether it be
Put a teacher in charge of
definitions,
your homework.
That's it.
whether
true.
it be definitions, whether it be the rough draft of a, photographs for the good neighbor idea. We're just gonna see what we can put together.
Great, good
At some
job.
point, we'll be calling in the zoning people and say, all right.
Great, good news, it's moving along. Okay, and that's it? Okay, Don, anything for roundtable?
We have to pay bills.
You want to do that first? Yeah, we should, I guess.
It's on the list.
That's right, because I skipped over that and public comment.
I'll
All
make
right,
the
so
motion to pay bills.
Don, okay,
Second.
and Neil, any further discussion? No? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, now public comment. Karen,
See, she looks at me. Notice that? See, Erin.
anything?
I was gonna say, Erin, watch too much that.
I got
You should've
nothing
tipped them
to
off.
say, nothing
I'm
at
gonna have
all.
to say something, I don't wanna disappoint you.
Okay, I'm listening.
I would hope everybody supports the holiday stroll and the vendors that are participating on Friday. I think the chamber's put a lot of effort into putting it together. We have vendors here, vendors at the chamber, across the hall from Caitlin's office. I think Casey's doing something as well, and so I hope a lot of us support it.
I just want,
Very positive.
I want to say I am so glad, because my daughter's participating again this year, that it is inside.
Yeah.
Good.
It was cold
Ditto.
last year.
Yes.
Yeah, it was cold. So yeah, I hope everybody supports it and it's a success.
Nice.
Positive comment.
Yeah, good, excellent.
And I'm sure, well, I'm sure we all will, and you pray for nice weather.
Yep.
And for as many people to know about what Don said, because last year you could freeze your biscuit out there, yeah. I felt bad for you guys that were helping, Casey, because man, it wasn't just
It was
cold, it was
brutal.
that wind that just goes right through.
It was
you
like
know?
freezing rain.
Right.
Yeah.
Historical
sleep-
Society will have a table, we have new t-shirts for the Historical
Nice.
Society.
Oh, nice.
And on the back of the shirt, it has a picture. I gotta give Erin a lot of credit for putting that together. The Welcome to Speculator sign
Oh,
is
nice.
on the back of the shirt with a
Uh-huh.
nice logo that
Oh.
Erin designed, which has, is a Speculator Mountain in the background?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
just a
up here.
logo with Osborne Point with
Yeah,
speculator.
with the Speculator Mountain in the
Very
background,
nice.
very nice. So that's our Historical Society little fundraiser, and of course the library will have a table. It will be the drawing for our gift card tree. Over $700 worth of gift cards.
That's a
Very
cool
nice.
idea. I got nothing.
It is.
It's a
Yeah,
really
we did
cool,
very well with it, it's been very
Yeah.
popular.
I mean, this, who doesn't like a gift card, man?
No expiration date, you can give it as Christmas presents. you
Yep,
know? So
absolutely.
anyway, the whole point is to support all the vendors, you know?
Indeed.
Come out.
Nice, great. That's it?
And the,
That's it.
anyone, the tree lighting, is it,
I don't, did they set
wanna
the
say-
time?
I don't know.
I think
I'm-
it's
I'm
like
going-
4:30.
Yeah, so
I'm going to
Yeah.
see.
I believe that's what the schedule said.
Okay, 4:30.
Caitlin.
Caitlin.
I'm going to see Caitlin tomorrow because I've roped into a specific duty,
yeah.
one that involves a suit.
I was never really sure about
A
who
red
set that time. Because when I was on the village board, didn't the village set the time?
No.
For the
Yes.
tree lighting and
Yeah.
everything? I don't know who does it now, if they
Well,
still do it
I
or.
mean, if they haven't picked up the ball, I'm sure she has, but,
Yeah.
it just for everything from folks being sleeted on or freezing to a couple of Marty or somebody with their lips stuck to the,
I don't think they're gonna do it this year.
I don't think so either, because it
Marty's
was
already doing
really
it.
difficult, the weather,
Marty is.
the weather's hard for that, yeah, there was
I
a,
talked to her,
Oh, all
and
right,
so
good.
Marty and Steve will be.
Steve Page usually plays the guitar,
Yeah.
but
I-
freezing hands and freezing lips are a
I
hard
was
thing to.
But you
informed I had to
know,
hand out the music.
It's traditional though.
I wish it
Well,
was
I know it
Saturday.
is, but,
Yeah, I would have been disappointed if she wasn't.
Yes, me too.
Well, it used to be,
I'm
'cause it
glad
was
to
small
see a
business
couple of
Saturday.
Right.
things still
Small
happening
business.
year after year after year.
Because most people go away for Thanksgiving. and come
Look
back
forward
for
to it.
Saturday.
It's nice to do.
Anyway. Anybody else public comment? No? Okay, roundtable. Don?
No.
Yeah, they-
Okay, Neil?
I have two. One is just a short lament of the referendums that we put up, and they're being voted down. I will not chastise the voters, but rather ourselves. I don't think we did a good enough job.
Push it.
Well, just to let people know what the initiative's about. It's not about your candidate or mine, or somehow benefiting them, she or he. It's really about the savings of cost and distraction that comes with it, and the fact that many of the towns around us have seen that light and have, moved to it. So I hope that future boards, review that and give the public time to digest it, and maybe they can revisit it. The other one was a piece of business that we learned today that I feel the public should be aware of, which is the DEC is apparently planning here in Region 5 for closing many of the campsites that were traditionally open from Labor Day to Columbus Day to not be so. And the two that affect us here in this room is the Louis Lake campsite and the much bigger one, the Moffett Beach campsite. I think this is a terrible idea, and even more nefarious, I feel that the lack of information being put out there is purposeful to stunt any pushback from the public. These things are the real treasures of the state, the huge state land that is our county and town. The most important one of those, as far as visitors and repeat visitors and so on, is often the campsites. And I just think it's this terrible idea for people of lesser means to be able to come to, whether to the Moose Festival or to the Bear wine thing here or whatever, things that might fall in that from Labor Day to Columbus. Just a terrible idea. I don't see it as a way of them saving money. In fact, my information indicates that the staff may stay on during that period. So you tell me what the possible motives can be. Well, whatever they are, our board should be out there shedding light on this. I doubt very seriously that a phone call from any of us would immediately change course for the director of Region 5 DEC, but I am told also that it's from the region. This is not a statewide initiative. It's not something that, Basil, Lagos, or whatever, Sagos can, he's a lightweight. But regardless, he's not at the crux of this. It appears it's just something they feel they can do. And I just think it's wrong on a number of fronts. It's affecting us directly, but I think if Indian Lake is made aware of it, and I think they have been, they too will see this as bad. There will not be a campsite open during that period of time from Northampton to Inlet. It's a tough thing to tell a family or a group of folks that, used the most beautiful 6 weeks that we have, September and the first part of October. No, we're just gonna chain them off, particularly if it's as galling as it is and there's actually people being paid to be there in the way of staff.
Can I add to that? This past year, with Moffett Beach being open, those later seasons, we've had a lot more people up here this year in the fall. And I'm a worker at Charlie John's store. That's my main
You see it.
bread.
Tax revenue.
If that's done,
Well, Aaron,
where's my customers?
right, again, I sometimes it's hard to quantify who's here camping, but it's very easy to get the numbers, and just the numbers from Louis Lake alone for that period, there are hundreds of camper nights that would be affected, and I just think it's wrong-headed, and I hope that we can at least put some light on it and perhaps reverse it for this year, because this is slated for next fall, for 23.
Okay, so this time we educate, we advocate,
Right.
and we make some noise, so.
Well, I'm hoping
We
that
need
this
a
gets,
plan.
our minutes get in the paper picks it up. A couple of phone calls from any citizen, myself, to the Old Times Union, to the Gazette. We should be making sure that the people are apprised. If they're apprised and they don't care, so be it. But I think this is being a stealth campaign, and I always bristle at that.
Yeah.
Now, I'll add one more thing. Just to say, I wouldn't be surprised the reason for doing this is because they were having trouble having employees stay.
Staffing's an issue in every place you run.
Oh, everywhere.
But I think if you went specifically to these two, and I hate to make it just to these two in our town, I think that those could be staffed and were staffed this year. The difficulty in staffing any enterprise has probably ratcheted up somewhat. it's not an excuse for shutting out the taxpaying New Yorkers who rely on some of these wonderful opportunities to see and be in the Adirondacks, just to shut down, as I say, and a very nice piece of fall.
Which we were also told the staffing was not the issue.
No, at least
We were told that.
Clarify something for me, you said it was not a state decision, that it was a,
My information says it was made at Region 5 as opposed to in Albany. So, in other words, other regions are may not have the same edict.
okay.
I just, being that it's specific to us, why would be nice to know, but more importantly, I think they should be stepping up. The state, when they know they're gonna have to do something controversial, usually plans a year or so of public comment periods and so on and so on. This is already slated. In fact, if you go to their, and Randy had passed, to the reservation site that the state uses, they have already blocked out September for next year.
So if you go to their site, try to book a date or whatever, it pops up that there's 2 alerts, any site that's you pick. And one of the alerts is firewood. We all know the firewood rule
Sure,
of law.
bring it in.
So they buried it into an alert.
An alert?
Next to firewood problem.
Under the firewood, yeah.
Okay, then you click on that alert, and I will read the very short 1-sentence statement. 2023 season change. This facility will close on Labor Day for the 2023 season. That's it.
We already lost the 2 campsites in
Pasico.
Yes.
Pasico for that period of time, and now we're gonna lose these 2.
Exactly. This is a slow creaking thing that we need to, as Kathy said, we need to educate and advocate to
And get
protect
loud.
ourselves.
Do we have somebody's number that people can call to?
Region 5, I don't have one yet, but I'll certainly spread it around as we try to make some noise.
What about our local assemblyman?
Well, Bob Smallman, he'll be one of the first calls. And again, when you do these things, I don't want to say surreptitiously, but stealthily, quietly, in-house, it can be down the rails a little bit before anyone even becomes the wiser. And we were lucky to have someone tip us off who's in the know.
Well, yeah, social media is a great way to get around.
Yes.
I belong to a few sites, camping in New York,
Well,
and
that's right.
people are always
There you
mentioning
go.
Moffitt's Beach.
Make noise.
I've got a
Perfect,
couple of
perfect
numbers
tag
for
on it.
Region
I'm
5.
dragging out your meeting.
What do you have?
I'm
Michelle,
sorry.
what do you have?
General information, I would highly recommend if anybody looks up the phone number, go with the Raybrook number, not the Northville, because people never get an answer in the Northville office.
Right.
But it is 518-897-1200. And there's also a number here for the regional director, Joseph Zalewski.
Yeah.
It's 518-897-1211.
1211, and that was
Isn't he in
Joseph?
Northville?
Yep, Zalewski.
They
It's the
always
same
say they
area
are,
code
but
as
they're never
Raybrook,
there.
so I don't think so.
A lot of the people are in both places, but you won't get them unless they answer. As a matter of fact, there is one other, I don't have the number, but where we used to do most of our meetings when I was on county on this, we met mostly in Warrensburg, in the DEC offices, where very active year round. But point being, just to get back, Betsy, I'm
Region 5 DEC.
taking too much time, but it was pointed out to me by this same person that while Louis Lake would be closed right across the street, the Indian Lake Islands, same period, will be open. And my take to that was younger, more mobile people, you got a paddle or whatever over there. And these people, while we're very happy to have them, there's about 50 sites there. There's 140 some odd in Louis. And those folks, once they go in to a Louis Lake campsite, that's where they stay. Now, they might have gotten the stuff from Charlie's, you can't measure all these things with the same ruler, but the point is, people who stay up here, to your point about the camps, things you belong in, this place will take that 30-footer that Don pulls in, and you don't get any of those out on, what? There's
That's smaller.
smaller, but I'm saying, but Louis will accommodate those bigger things that some of the folks who don't have kids in school anymore, just, they're middle age or beyond, that's what gets used at Louis Lake, and those are the folks who end up going out to shop and dine throughout the region. So Indian Lake will be just as exercised by this as we are, because folks who are staying in Louis are a big part of what goes north as was just as well as south.
Do we know about Sakadaga Lake Campground? Sakadaga River.
I mean,
Kind of well.
I don't. I think it-
Wells always closed.
They close at Labor
They
Day.
always close.
Yeah.
It's, the only two down this way are Moffitt's and Louis that stay open.
We're gonna get a lot of our customers down there.
So that's all I have to say.
So Don, I
Get the
think it's a
word out.
great idea. You said you have a
Very.
couple of,
Oh, yeah, camping in New York and, there's a couple other ones that I belong to that.
Let's,
Maybe a good
let's,
idea. Maybe you can get that on Facebook
Oh, yeah,
too,
I will.
oh,
to
yeah.
other people, so people can start really rattling cages.
Well, the phone ringing
Getting
in
the
those
word out.
places that Michelle has mentioned.
Also
I
bring
will
this to
definitely,
Roost and Ask
good.
them to make some noise.
Oh, Roost is a good one, yeah.
Bruce is a very good one. I mean, out of your office,
Yeah.
if this comes as a
This is the
surprise.
first I've heard of it.
Well, again.
We just
you
heard
know,
about
this
this
gal's in
afternoon,
charge
we were
of,
having a
you know,
meeting,
down there with
and we
Christie in
walked
charge
in.
of tourism for the county. And it just rung wrong for us to hear this because, wait a minute. Why would we be just hearing this? I had a copy of this week's Hamilton County in my pocket, and I know it wasn't in there. Haven't seen it in the Leader, I read that all the time. Like, wait a minute, I read Facebook every day, not for long, but no mention of any of this stuff, and now to hear that the county knows nothing about it. This is a fastball that's kind of been thrown by us before we even know it.
So I will call Raybrook, and I will also call Bob Smollen's office
Great.
tomorrow and talk to
get on
them and
Facebook.
see if we can get it, and if you can get that on Facebook,
and
and
the
get the
other
ball rolling.
supervisors.
And Roost, well, I do know the fellow that came in, someone had contacted Brian Wells, who's chairman of the board, so I'm sure it will be coming to our next meeting.
Yeah.
This just came about today, that
Right,
we got
but
this
the-
word.
the same-
so-
Does
the same
Lime
person-
Kiln close Labor Day?
Yes.
Okay, so the only two campsites in Hampton County that stay open after Labor Day are Louis and Moffitt's.
No, there's
What's
one,
in
there's
Inlet?
one in Inlet.
Inlet.
Lime Kiln.
There's a couple in.
No,
Inlet.
it was, maybe Long Lake has one, but again, Northampton
Eaton
not being
Basin,
in,
I thought you said
in
Inlet.
Hamilton.
Like has one.
Long
Yeah.
Lake?
Long Lake has
So I
one,
thought
but
you said Inlet.
not, I
So
mean,
Inlet has multiple
Northampton is it,
Okay.
and that's out of this county, so you're basically shutting out down
Yeah,
like
but it's
that.
part of the Silver Lake Wilderness area.
Yeah.
So,
Well, let's do our
Okay.
part,
Okay,
noise.
okay. Anything else? Neil?
that's it, I have
That's
two.
it. Okay.
Plenty.
Michelle, anything?
Nothing for me.
Kathy, anything?
another, just like the holiday stroll, something that's become a yearly event that people look forward to, Reach Across America will be happening. I'm gonna tell you December 15th, but I don't have the paperwork in front of me, so I will firm that up. Ceremony and replay.
How does someone do something towards that if they wanted to?
Write me a check. I will pass on.
So, we're skipping past the
you doing?
website or the.
I have the forms, and I will get one to you, so that if there's a person who is military that you would like remembered at the service, we read names based on branch.
I will do something, you have them on your.
I do. No, I'm out. So Kathy, if you could
I will find
forward
some
one
more.
to Neil. Jane
way you
Zarecki
want.
got my last one.
I will do it. Drop it off tomorrow.
Okay, I know you have one thing. Go ahead, Steph.
Did anyone notice the new flag outside of town hall?
Nope.
It's too dark.
Darn it, and I've been pushing it.
I don't know how long it was up before I noticed it, but thank
It's so
you.
good, cause the other one was so raggedy, I remember mentioning it.
It looks good.
That's great,
It looks
Thursday
really good.
morning it was put up.
very good.
Someone made a
Yay.
comment to me and I said, that's not a problem, we don't need to order one, we'll put one up. So,
Good man,
Was that it? Steph?
very good
That's
stuff.
it.
Oh,
That's plenty.
I thought you had stuff to talk about. Okay. I just want to remind everybody that the clinic will not have a provider, which started last Friday, November 18th through December 2nd. The provider will be starting again on December 5th. The clinic will still be open for prescriptions and blood work to be done. So I just wanted to mention that. And
Is anybody,
If that's-
mentioning that to somebody that we are running a health center and we would like to have a provider when ours is
We
not
have.
available?
we
She deserves
have,
a vacation,
Yeah,
but
she does, she's,
we have.
She does, she's Azul, and yes,
But-
both Betsy and I are
We both have been.
working behind the scenes to expand that coverage.
maybe somebody from the Twigs could make a comment too. I mean, they help.
Yeah,
I'll
they're-
leave that to the Twig, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I
'Cause the
I have
Twigs doesn't-
relationships that I would only hurt.
No,
by.
they send it to
Actually,
GAVAC.
Not anymore?
If you'll notice for the disbursement of funds, that I think, I don't know if it was in the paper this week or not, when we were giving out the money from the Twigs, we normally set aside a certain amount of money for the primary care center based on what they need, because it's for whatever they need, if they have a specific piece of equipment that they want or something like that. When they were approached this year, nothing,
Okay,
no anything, they didn't need anything.
but for years they did.
Well,
Oh,
it's
sure.
been, it's been 2-3 years that
Yeah.
Twigs has been sending it directly to GAVAC.
No, that's something totally different, no.
Oh.
This is just money for the primary care center.
Oh, I never knew that.
Right,
Okay.
yes, every year, when you see the disbursement of funds, we
Yeah.
set aside a certain amount, I don't know, it's either $500 or $1,000 that
These-
they can draw from if they want anything.
Right.
We
These,
have money left over because the last thing that was given to them was Dr. Parslow wanted a heating massage type of a machine that was helping people with arthritis, and they were coming to him for treatments, and he had requested that, and the Twigs bought that
Oh,
out
wow.
of that disbursement money that we set aside for them, but nothing.
for many years, long before the Twigs House, long before there was the kind of funds there is now with Twigs, Twigs have always given some specific, it's not a bequeath, but it's
Yeah.
donation towards, not just general. It would be an exam light kind of thing that pulls down and so on. But two things have happened. The town has fitted the place on the more mundane things, flooring and whatnot, and heating systems pretty well. And there's more money in the hospital's budget to give them what they need there. But in the early days, that was not the case, and the Twigs were that stopgap. It's much better right now that the Twigs give to the things that are really, obviously ambulance corps, and they've spread it around a lot more, right, out to Seco and beyond, and
Right, yeah, we do have wells that we'll be adding into our bylaws, which wasn't listed, but also what the Twigs do is they decorate in memory of Twigs who have passed on, the entrance to the primary care center. We do the flowers in the spring, and I think somebody's doing some pine boughs now to make that look nice.
Oh, nice.
that
Very
entrance
nice.
way. And inside the building, they have the plaque of the Twigs who have passed away. In fact, I think Sandy's in charge of that, of getting the plaque for those people. So we're kind of there if they
Yeah.
need something
Sure.
specific.
yeah. It's a
But
foundation type
I guess it's
support.
with that they don't need anything, because it
Yes.
means that however they're operating, they've got the equipment with which to
Yeah,
do
which they
whatever
need.
they're doing.
Right, what they
But
need.
no
most-
providers.
Yeah.
Well, we have a
Yeah,
provider.
We can't give them that.
We have a provider.
Yeah.
By our contract, they have to have a provider, and of course, we've had Carla for many years. We've been blessed, and not all small primary cares have it, but we've been blessed to have a provider and almost always a riding doc, like a once-a-week doc, but with Mike, and then one other time where we had a regular doc. For the size of the primary care, that was really wonderful gravy for us. We're working, I mean myself and Betsy and others are trying to get that back again. But as you say, Carla did need a vacation, and there was no, so they look at the times when the least amount of traffic comes through there, and then it becomes basically a pharmacy for that period of time. It's not ideal by any means. And in the past, in the very recent past, they would steal someone from Mayfield to come up and cover that, either a PA or another nurse practitioner. That's one of the several things I have on my list to be speaking to the CEO, and Betsy has opened a pretty good channel with the vice president who's in charge of the primaries. We need to straighten out a couple of things. It's a much more global issue than us, but try to weigh in on some things about providers that aren't being taken or aren't accepting a certain insurance, that kind of thing. And it's always something like this. But, suffice it to say, they want to remain vital here. They are just short, like everyone is, not just in the healthcare industry, but specifically in the healthcare industry, trying to get people, particularly past the pay grade of a PA or a nurse practitioner, is quite difficult. So
Okay.
working on.
So just one more thing, a correspondence from the Lake Pleasant Library. They want to thank us for our help during their Adopt a Highway cleanup, our assistance in maintaining our beautiful highway on the way out of the village was a wonderful gift, and picking up all the garbage, Randy, the fellas, and taking it to the transfer station. So Sherry wanted to send a thank you to everybody for that. And at this time, we will be going into executive session. So, we'll be going into executive session to discuss an employee matter. So, thank you for coming.
Pause.
Gary?
Can I just see it?
Number 2.
Your cheat sheet.
Have a good evening, folks.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome.